With that, we would give you, Ines, the presenter rights.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody. I've seen one name, I guess, Ralf Aschemann, if you are here. Hi, from my times in Graz. For the rest, it's really great to see so many young, not so young, new faces. Welcome to this session. You've heard from Anna. Thanks, Anna, for introducing the session already. We have quite a tight schedule. That's why we can't really have long conversations bilaterally or going very deep in one topic. But from my side, and I'm pretty sure Elisa and David would also be willing to answer questions you have afterwards when you write them an email, or I can also chat with some people. I see you nodding, thank you. And of course, it's not that the three of us are the professionals, but all of us are. And I would see we are invited here to talk from our experiences, but of course you all have, and you could also contribute. So in the chat, if there are seniors as well, not in the chat, in the breakout rooms, please feel free also to give your experiences. From the inputs, we have 10 minutes per person, and I thought it's about 7 minutes plus 3 minutes questions, if this is okay for you, Elisa and David. Then I would tell you 1 to 2 minutes after 5-6 minutes. And yeah, if your input is longer, questions can be posed afterwards in the breakout rooms or via chat, and you could answer them maybe bilaterally. I think that's all I have to say for now. Exactly, because then we can already start 1 minute later than planned with an input, and I think I shall start. I try to look at the time as well. 6, okay. And I share my screen with you, and I hope it works now as well. You see it? Because I can't see you anymore. I need a yes loud.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for inviting me to give a bit of an input. Although I'm not, I would say, normal researcher or scientist, I didn't take the conventional career path. Quite on the contrary. But you still asked me, so I'll tell a bit about myself and what I think was important in my life, or still is, or will be, to go the path I did. If you also want to go it, then maybe some of the things I did will help you. So I'm, yeah, what I am, I will tell you when I tell a bit about my CV. I think that's coming up. I first start with what is sustainability science? I mean, it's a big topic, as you all know. But for me, in the last, well, I graduated my master in 97 and my PhD 2004. So I'm quite long in this scene. And sustainability science, of course, is transforming itself as well. But some characteristics I see as maybe key is that it's, for me, a very holistic form of research or science, and systemic somehow. There's different topics and fields and dimensions that are linked, that are interdependent, and thus very complex. So it's hard to go extremely deep, as you do if you are a quantum physicist, for instance. I wouldn't say it's superficial, but it's good if you understand different topics and fields, maybe have your own field where you are an expert in. But don't expect to be an expert everywhere. I tried this in the beginning, it was totally overwhelming me. Then it's basically interdisciplinary teamwork. You have to like it. That's, yeah?
Sorry, I have to interrupt you, but I think your slides are not going forward. So I think it's better if we share your presentation.
Okay.
You were.
It's not in the presentation mode.
Yeah.
I did it in the presentation mode. I saw it in the presentation mode. Yeah, if you share it, happy. Sorry, excuse me. I stopped sharing mine already. Yeah, okay. It's slide 2. No, one before. Yeah. So you work in interdisciplinary teams usually. I like it a lot, right? It's hard work because languages are different, mindsets are different, perceptions are different. You have to really like to work with people. And it's, for me, sustainability science has to be transdisciplinary, meaning it's not science driven, but society driven. So the questions, the problems come from society or from business, but outside academia. It's uncertain to a certain extent, of course, because we have a lot of uncertainty in the future. And it's different stakeholders. You include laypersons from outside academia. And it's normative. It's, for me, not a positive objective science, because you as a sustainability researcher want something. For me, it's really to leave this world a bit better than I came into it. I doubt if I can do it, but it's really, really going for a good life for all on this earth now and in future. And making it transparent that I'm normative, it's what I learned to do. Next slide, please. So my development is, I ask myself sometimes if I'm a pioneer or if it just happened because I had good luck, whatever. It started already when I was a kid, but I don't bother you with this. I came to Graz and after my Matura and wanted to study something with environment and economics. I studied economics, Volkswirtschaftslehre, and I found this little flip chart in the aula of the main building. Wir gründen ein neues Studium. We are founding a new study format. It's called that time Ökosystemwissenschaften. It's now what we call environmental system sciences, and I guess you all know it. Really big thing. And we were 10 people, some students, some assistant professors, and starting it. It was a long way, and I was then the first graduating it with major economics. So it was just there, or I was at the right space. I don't know. Yeah, we founded the Interessensgemeinschaft USW. I've very early been in contact with professors. Of course, if you're only 10 in the beginning, it's easy. It helped me then later. Then I was working on different research institutes and teaching at the uni, having assistant positions and so on, and then did my PhD in ecological economics, and this I was one of the first ones. And this was also kind of good luck, because, you know, maybe Karl Steininger, he was a young assistant professor then and knew that I'm not so into neoliberal economics, environmental economics, as it was taught here in Graz. And then there was this field of ecological economics where he knew in Vienna there will be a conference, and he sent me there. And a totally new life began for me when I met those guys. Again, good luck, or being a pioneer, I don't know. Then I co-founded the Research Institute in Vienna, have been on different institutions, and then decided 2 years ago, when I started to be more and more also facilitating processes and linking, bridging science and policy, or science and society, to be self-employed. And I'm working together with institutes, but also on the ÖFSE, where I am, I have a subcontract. I'm not employed there, which has pros and cons. Can talk about it more later. Yeah, that's how I am now. I think the journey is not over, I hope at least. Next slide, please. I have 1 minute to go. 2 slides. Let's see if it works. The skills I think you might need, or I think that helped me, is most of them they characterize me from when I'm a kid. And some, of course, I learned and deepened later. And it's to be open, it's to be curious. I have a deep desire for a sustainable world, so deep that I sometimes very frustrated and desperate. I've been wanting to go to other countries. I've been working in different countries. Hard sometimes, not 9 to 5 and not what is prescribed, but more. And then skills, be able to think in networks, in systems that are linked, see these networks, build them, and sustainability science might not be the right area for a pure academic career, unless maybe in some countries, which is Scandinavia, maybe some units in the US. And be flexible as the topics change. I started with multi-criteria analysis, and now I'm doing socio-ecological transformation research. Next slide, please. This is the last one. What else might be important, or was important for me? I always had mentors. I met people who were there. They popped up, and there was an intuitive feeling I would go with this person for a while. Some are still in my life, some left. but it was always, I've never been alone, and I had people I could trust and ask. Yeah, build networks as soon as possible, and do many other things you like, because I think this strengthened me as well, be it hobbies, for me a lot of sport, but also other things. Doing internships, go abroad, maybe work in social areas with people, and then try to work in teams quite early and try to see which form of teams you like. For me, the most important now is, more than the topic, is this surrounding where I feel well. If there is disharmony, or where we go so different directions because we have different values and mindsets, I wouldn't do it anymore. Might sound arrogant, but I had times in my life, to be honest, 2 close burnouts, that it's worth thinking about with whom you want to work, and try to be yourself always. It sounds so pathetic, but that's what I try, at least. I still learn. Thank you very much. This was my input. And we have 2 minutes for questions, immediate ones. Let's just see if there is a hand open, or maybe you just start talking if you have questions.
Yes, so I have a question. So hi there, I'm Santiago. You all know me.
Hi.
Well, not all,
Yes.
but most. My question is about the mentorship. How did you get to know your mentors? How did you establish that relationship?
I think this was also good luck, partly. At the university, as we were these 10 people starting these new studies, there were a couple of professors who super supported it, so they were mentors from the beginning. Some are still here in Graz, some not anymore. Stefan Schleier, Karl Farmer, yeah, some people, so they helped me. Because I did maybe something that was not the conventional way, but more. I worked a lot. I mean, we created our own courses. We even paid some professors to come here and give system science courses because we didn't have them here. So do more than normal was easy. And then it was really asking those that already had, hey, I'm interested in this or that direction. Do you know whom I could talk to, whom I could ask? And usually, if seniors see that there is a desire in yourself, or really that you're enthusiastic about something, they help. Of course, I also met people who were not helping, on the contrary, also in Graz, but you feel it quite soon, and don't be shy. Try to really ask people if they can help you and if they know persons. Going to conferences, of course, now it's awful with this COVID. But conferences, events in Graz, there is also events happening like Vorträge and so in the evening. In Vienna, of course, where I live now, is easier. Yeah, and show your interest, show yourself, and say, hey, I wanna go forward. Can you help? And if you start with some, I think it goes one to the other. There is an interesting thing from the Ludwig Boltzmann Gesellschaft, Ludwig Boltzmann Society in Vienna. They have a mentoring program every year where people in your career stage can apply for being a mentee and get a mentor for a year. I'm in this program as a mentor as well the first time. If you're interested, Ludwig Boltzmann Society, search for it. And this is a professional mentoring network for researchers in every area, early stage researchers.
Super, thank you.
And I think if there is no immediate question now, we should go to the next one. And I think it's David, who's coming from the industry background. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. First question, can you hear me? And the second one, perfect.
Perfectly.
Okay. Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me in your great project. I really enjoyed Tuesday. You did a really great job, and I think it's a great team. So I would like to give you some insights. Yeah, I'm David. I'm working for Fronius International, which is a company in Austria, and I would like to show you the next slide, please. So I'm the program lead for sustainability by design, and we have 3 business units. We have Perfect Charging on the left, which is charging equipment for traction batteries, like in intralogistics, forklifts, and so on, and starter batteries, for example, for cars. The second business unit is Perfect Welding, which is from small pocket welding devices in your car repair shop, for example, up to high-tech automated automotive devices like in Graz, Magna Steyr, for example. And the third business unit is solar energy, where we are trying to provide our vision of 24 hours of sun. And so in this unit, we are producing solar energy inverters. We are producing storage systems with storage units, meters, and lots of equipment as well. And my challenge is to make all those product service systems more sustainable. Next slide, please. So who am I? And I tried to put it on one slide. So I started with a teacher master's studies at the University of Graz, English, Geography, and Economics. And I discovered, okay, teaching is probably not the greatest job for me. So I always was looking forward to possibly could I make some change in my career. And fortunately, I had the chance to do a PhD thesis on plastics recycling in the automotive sector, where Professor Baumgartner was my second advisor, and he did a really good job. Thank you again. And I also had the chance to publish it with Springer, and then I went on to teaching for 1 year in Linz in Upper Austria, and then I went on to the Business Upper Austria, which is a business agency, the clean technology cluster, and I was head of circular economy innovation. So I did workshops and strategy development for startups, for example, with developing a circular outer jacket up to carbon fiber reinforced plastics, waste management. So I was kind of all over the place and not really a specialist. And fortunately, I found a job at Fronius with sustainability by design. So this is in a quick wrap up my CV. Next slide, please. So Fronius, it all began with the life extension of car batteries. So Mr. Fronius said, okay, why are we throwing away and buying lots of car starter batteries? I would like to charge them and prolong their life. And so this is the basis, the DNA of Fronius, and it's kind of with repairing and making useful products. Next slide, please. So I told you already about our 3 business units, and you might ask your question, well, what's the common goal? And the common goal is make electrical energy usable for your needs in various application fields. Next slide, please. Yeah, some show off of our partners, some bigger, some smaller. So this is also in terms of difficult or challenging times, really good to have a broad spectrum of customers. So we're doing still very well. Next slide, please. And yeah, currently we're still kind of expanding, exploding in terms of employees. Currently 5,500. Lots of patents, and we have really lots of people in R&D, over 770 people in R&D, which is quite a big share. We have a really high export rate and 34 international sites, which I can show you on the next slide. So the main production is in the Czech Republic and in Austria, and in all others we have daughter companies which yeah, kind of helping us to sell our products. Also in terms of service, we have a national repair center in lots of countries. We have an international repair center in Upper Austria. So we're getting back our products, and we can repair even 30-year-old welding equipment. So I think this is already really high standard. Next slide, please.
David, you have
Yes.
2 minutes left.
All right. So sustainability is very important. We call it people, planet, profit. We have lots of PV on our roofs. We care for our employees and our customers. And I suggest you have a look at this video, Fronius robustness tests, where we are really putting our products to the test. Next slide, please. Yeah, we can skip this one. So we're using sustainable energy. So my valuable skills for my job, I think lots of soft skills are truly important for my job. So user-centered communication. Sustainability is so complex when we have to convert it into simple concepts for technical engineers up to C-level executives. networking, really, really important, internal along value chains with experts such as you. Hard skills, of course, program and project management, innovation management, change management. This all helps with sustainability. And of course, the core subject matter competence in theory and practice. So this is corporate sustainability, circular economy, and now also for me, product development. And yeah, the next slide, please. What would I tell my younger self during my academic studies? Visit lots of companies, do even more internships at companies active in different stages of product life cycles. Yeah, and yeah, take a look at the companies, go with the innovators. I think it's way more satisfying than to fighting on, and this is really fortunate for me currently. Yeah, find out what you're truly passionate about and ask yourself, would I hire me? And these are my advice for you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, David. Great. You've been in time and really interesting insights. Questions to David? We have 2 minutes. Just talk if you have one, because I can't see.
I don't have a question, but David, thank you. You have been a great student during your PhD study.
You have a supervisor here. Cool. I don't see all of them. Yeah.
I have a quick question. You mentioned 70% of your skills are hard skills related. You mentioned circular economy and sustainability. If you would recommend 1 or 2 trainings, circular economy people like us should do, which ones would you recommend?
Training, circular economy trainings. I think I would do design thinking workshop, how to make products more sustainable, and take, I don't know, a smartphone or whatever, and try to visit each site of the value chain. I think this is really, really helpful to go to the mining company, go to the suppliers, go to the manufacturer and the transportation phase and the end of life phase. Visit the places on your own, and then think about how you can improve it. Where are the levers? So sustainability assessment is, of course, really, really helpful to have valuable data, trustworthy data, and then talk to people and do prototyping.
Thank
I'm
you.
not quite sure if there's one course where everything is provided. So I think you have to split it up because it's quite broad.
Okay, thank you, David. Then may we come to Elisa Gramlich from the WWF, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here, especially since I know some of you and I really enjoyed my studies at Utrecht and Graz. So now I'm going to go through the slides quite fast to have more time to go into questions later. Next slide, please. So when I was still in school, I always knew that I wanted to have a job later where I kind of can contribute to a more positive future. And then I thought going into sustainability in combination with innovation and business would be the best idea for me. So at that time, I didn't really find a bachelor in sustainability management. So I studied nonprofit management at the Management Center Innsbruck. And then I worked between my bachelor and master at an innovation consultancy in Vienna called Pioneers Discover. Afterwards, I did, like some of you, the master program in sustainable development and environmental sciences at Utrecht and Graz University. And then I worked during my master thesis already at the Impact Hub Vienna and focused also on my master thesis on startups and innovation and sustainability. And because I led some innovation contests at Impact Hub Vienna, I also got the opportunity to do now my current job at WWF. So I saw that they were also looking for a program manager for an innovation contest and applied there. And I'm working there now since 3 years. And after the innovation contest, I started to do other projects at WWF that I will explain later a bit more in detail. And now I kind of created my own job where I also focus on circular economy. Yeah, I also have a small blog, but I don't update it that regularly. and I'm supporting an NGO in Nepal as well as a startup called Inoko. Next slide, please. So I think most of you probably know WWF. We are one of the largest nature conservation organizations globally, have a lot of supporters. Next slide, please. And our mission is to build a future in which humans live in harmony with nature. And we do that by preserving the biological diversity of the earth, promoting the nature-friendly use of renewable resources, and by preventing environmental pollution and the waste of natural resources. Next slide. So we focus on different topics. So we have different pillars on forests, oceans, water, wildlife, climate and energy, and food. And we have different drivers, so to say. So we work with politics, we work with consumers, and we do field projects, but also we work with businesses because we see businesses as part of the problem, but also as part of the solution. Next slide, please. So our role with companies is that we are a strategic consultant and a sparring partner for them. We set ambitious targets with the companies, do monitoring, give input, have a lot of experience due to our global network, and also work together with other experts such as yourself. And we provide them with information and this holistic sustainability view, and also do awareness raising and political work. Sometimes we also do studies together with partners, like different universities or institutions, and also do rankings. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think we can skip this one. Next slide. So please excuse that the format is a bit different, I see now, but so we, in Austria, we focus on 5 different areas when working with business. One is on climate change, mitigation, and energy. Then we have a pillar on more sustainable food and sustainable finance. And what I'm doing now is related to plastics and circular economy. And we also support green startups with our Innovate for Nature contest. Next slide. So this is just some examples from projects that we currently have. So I'm working together with IKEA to do a lot of awareness raising amongst the employees and consumers. So we did some workshops in the stores on food waste reduction in general. And also we have here a global partnership with IKEA where we really work on making the products more sustainable, with sustainable forestry and less water usage and so on. Then we have a project with
2 minutes left.
Okay, good. Then just one more project. We also work with some banks, for example, and implement eco funds and also help them to make their investments more sustainable. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think we can. We have this climate group network where we work with 10 large companies and set science-based targets, so climate change mitigation targets with them. Next slide. And what I did regarding plastics and circular economy is that we got some requests now recently to work on more sustainable packaging, and I kind of just developed my own knowledge here, talked with experts such as David, for example, and then did a guideline for some retailers like Spar on more environmentally friendly packaging. And now I'm collaborating with Lauer to promote the use of reusable packaging and climate protection by also setting science-based targets with them. Next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is just really quickly what I usually do. So I represent WWF, especially in regards to plastics and circular economy. I go to a lot of networking events, stakeholder roundtables. I have also projects with different companies and yeah, do a lot of lobbying and awareness raising and also some research like writing articles or working together with experts to do some studies together and then do awareness raising with those studies. Next slide. So I think what I need most are actually my soft skills at the moment. So it's a lot of project management, presentation skills, networking, negotiation skills, but also research and communication skills, and also leadership skills for managing project teams. But I realize it's very important to build a good network and really be proactive and think strategically. And by being proactive, I also had the opportunity to now create this area of circular economy at WWF that is still very new and still being developed. So yeah, that was a great opportunity for me. And I think regarding hard skills, it's a plus if you know how to do carbon footprint assessments or life cycle analysis, but it's not that necessary at WWF because we are not a technical consultant and work more strategically. But of course, I think it makes sense to specialize in one area and gain there a bit more expertise. Yeah, that's it for now. I'm looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
There is from Henrika a question she wrote in the chat. When you're looking at company engagement in the CE, it's often very similar names coming up, like IKEA, Frosch, and so. Are you also trying to bring CE thinking into companies who are not so there yet? And if yes, how? Easy question.
Yeah, that's actually my goal, what I want to do, but we just started the work on circular economy half a year to 1 year ago, and are still in the strategy development. So now I'm doing a study with the Wuppertal Institute and together with WWF Germany, where we analyze the different sectors, textiles, electronics, packaging, and food, to come up with our kind of portfolio that we want to offer to those companies. And I would be very interested in also working with small and medium-sized companies, for example. And yeah, you're right, IKEA is already doing quite well regarding circular economy, but I think especially also in Austria, the topic is still very new and there's a lot of potential there.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more question for Elisa? Okay, if
Would
not,
you hire yourself?
I'm curious about your project in Nepal. If you could tell me about what you're doing. Thank you.
Thanks for asking. You're also from Nepal, right?
Mm.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually went there when I was 18 after I graduated from high school. And I worked at a small German organization that have different schools there. It's near Kathmandu in Changunarayan, if you know it. And so a small village, and I was volunteering there for a couple of months, and I'm still in contact with the people there and try to go there every few years. But the organization is supporting schools there, so they are looking for people who are sponsoring the tuition fees for the school children, pretty much.
Cool.
Okay. Wonderful.
Fine. I would make a stop here. Great, thanks for your inputs. Really quite diverse, but some things are redundant concerning the soft skills, this building networks, this being proactive, and so we've all somehow done. I'm pretty sure you do as well. And we would now come to the group work. Thomas, are you fine with it to start the groups? Because I would say 1 minute what we plan to do, but first the technical question.
Yes, we are creating the breakout rooms now. The attendees to each breakout room are the ones that I sent you already, so it should not be major changes. One practical note is that in your breakout room, we have assigned a remote facilitator of the facilitator to cut you some slack because you're also answering the questions. So in this case, you will have Santiago Perez, who will kindly support you with the time management and also moderate a little bit the discussion. So thank you, Santi. And in the other breakout rooms, I will be managing the time for Elisa's room, and Thomas will be managing the time for David's room.
David.
So, yeah.
Any supervisor joining? I think we didn't get that. think not.
We didn't record any answers from supervisors, so supervisors will remain in the plenary unless they say something right now.
And
I would suggest to Santi to give us a nice
Thank
insight.
Thank you, Anna.
I thought we start with 3. Okay, Santi. Then may I ask you to say 2 or 3 things you took with you from the group? Sorry, that's
Yes.
quite
So
famous, but you do it great.
Yeah. I took a lot of notes here, but I think something that resonated to everybody, it was in terms of skills, like doing a PhD requires a lot of self-discipline, and that's something that either we've been struggling with, or we have kind of came across with it, and then to a certain point we have somehow mastered how to do it. I guess that was the kind of the main feeling. Second thing that resonated, and everybody was nodding when someone was talking about that, it was about having the wisdom of and kind of either having training or being self-trained on how to self-organize yourself so you can organize groups, and this is kind of very important for people, and I think all of us, that we have a big role on having or doing a research with stakeholders. So in terms of transdisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity, or actually research that is applied into society, it was very important for us in the group we discussed to have that kind of skill of hosting ourselves in a way so we can host other people in different ways. Then there was a question that kind of was at the very end, is what to do after the PhD, and this is a question that I think it still remains open there. Which skills do we want to use for the further development, either professional or personal, and what can we do with that, and just kind of learn how to manage the skills that we have gained through this process of doing a PhD. And at the end, I this is kind of the last thing, I made a quick poll just asking people how would they recognize their soft and hard skills, and the majority of us, we responded 50-50. So we use 50% soft skills, 50% hard skills, and I think that says a lot into to the way in which we do research here, involving stakeholders and being active participants of society.
Okay, thank you, Santi.
You're welcome.
I would have voted for 60% soft and 40 hard skills, but we didn't have this option. One thing I want to add is personal development is also quite important. In what way ever you want to do it, doing courses there, doing summer schools, going to a group, whatever it is. Because when you develop personally, you also develop, of course, your professional way of being. Thank you. It was really a great discussion with you guys. Group number 2. This would then be Anna, who is reporting back.
I have the honor to report in the name of group number 2. But yeah, group number 2 members, feel free to make additions on this. Yeah, we had a very broad discussion. We first talked about skills, soft and hard. The hard ones related to research. Elisa was reported that her research activities were 80% high level, so they require, of course, having like a certain degree of rigor and knowledge and being able to conduct sort of consultancy style of research. But 20% was also like sort of expert research, in which usually they also have the help from really experts on a given topic. So that's interesting for us, I guess, when it comes to sort of exploding our research capacities that we're acquiring throughout our PhDs. We also talked about soft skills. One more point on hard skills. I think something that we should keep in mind is to have a discussion on certifications we can get during or after our PhDs, because these are sometimes really explicitly put in the job offers. So yeah, maybe for ESRs, sharing some certification options for us that we think could be useful for us in the future. Yeah, also some more attitude stuff, like when it comes to enter any labor market, yeah, having your own story and selling yourself as an asset, like not approaching institutions with the idea of, oh, okay, can you please give me a job? No, be very confident of what we already have, which is very valuable. And also, I think considering the culture of the company, which might even depend on the geographical location of the company. Like we've talked that WWF in the Netherlands might be not the same as it is in Austria. So consider also the environment we'd like to work in, and take care of our professional relationships. Do networking, not networking events because small talk is awkward, but more effective ways of establishing relationships, like through collaboration in projects, checking in with people we know at a more deep level. And I think that's a summary of what we discussed. So any additions from your side? Group number 2?
No, I think it was fine. It's 10:30, but we have 2 minutes more, I hope, to hear from Thomas, your group.
Hey, so in our group with David Schönmayr, we focus more on in the industry side, and that jump from being a PhD and how to get into industry. He had a very nice path from PhD to more this consultancy in the big cluster, where he touched a lot of topics, and then he narrowed down to his dream job, as he described it today. So we talk a lot about the different skills that he needs. First, we talk a lot about the skills that he applies today that are very important. He stressed a lot about the relevance of just project management. That's something that mostly in any job, he was saying that you would need it, even if it's very technical, very soft, very hard skills, you will need project management skills. More related to sustainability, also some kind of sustainability assessment or life cycle assessment skills are also very, very valuable in the area, and more related to more soft skills, capabilities as moderator or facilitator. He really stressed how useful that is, and he really works he works in different aspects. So I think in this industry is very, very valuable. Then we talk also a lot about how to get to this dream job, and he's explained a lot about how he built his own network, and a couple of tips on that is that he's constantly said, just go to people, and be consistent with people, but not only consistent but also polite. That mix of consistent and polite, just to start building your network. And in that sense, he also talked a lot about thinking in steps towards your dream job, because as we work in sustainability and all these jobs are being created right now. So there's a new wave. Maybe the position is not being created yet, but you need to think, all right, how would I push for this to be created in the company or to reach that place? But first of all, he says, focus on finishing your PhD. We only have a 3-year project, and we have the option to be full-time there. So really focus on that. Don't get too distracted in too many trainings and workshops and project management things at the moment. Focus on your priority, which is finishing your PhD. So really discuss about that balance. And in that sense, he also stressed the importance of using wisely our supervisors and ask for feedback early, put ourselves an earlier deadline to finish, so we push ourselves, and don't look for perfection, because that last 20% of being good and perfect, it's gonna take forever. So look for that Pareto level, yeah, and that was the last comment. Thanks.
Any additions?
Ines, can I say something? I think that we touch on something that's very important, Ines, is like, for example, in these COVID times, we need to reframe the strategies that we use, and we need to reframe the skills that we have and use them like accordingly to the context. So I think that's something important that came out from our group as well, that we need to be flexible as well on that regard.
Yeah, thank you for adding this. Yeah. And anything else that wants to be said? Otherwise, I should thank you. Time was flying, really super interesting. It's a pity that we couldn't all talk together, but you had great sessions, I realize. And I hand over to Anna, I think, to say the last word. And
Yes.
good luck to all of you, really, with all what you want to do in your life.